Hey, greetings everyone and welcome to MOSHBITS. If you're new around here, then do note that I cover the latest news in tech and gaming on my channel almost daily, I would say at this point, so if you enjoyed the content then please consider subscribing. Now today we're starting with some RTX 3070 leaks and rumors since the wait is nearly over. And you won't even have to wait until the 29th of October when the cards actually launch, because reviews are coming out tomorrow at 2 PM Central European Summer Time. So if you were looking forward to learning more about those cards, then do make sure to check out some of the bigger YouTube channels like Gamers Nexus and Linus Tech Tips, Bitwit, Jay's 2 Cents, whatever, for a more in-depth overview. Now, I will also most probably cover the performance of the RTX 3070 in tomorrow's MOSHBITS video, and with a bit of luck, that is to say if I don't lose against bots and scalpers during the purchase process, then I shall also have a review for you guys. So do make sure to check out my future content, and by that I mean subscribe. But okay, let's talk about the latest leaks and rumors for the RTX 3070, because the reviewer's guide for the RTX 3070 has made it to video cards, and in it we have looked at quite some interesting things which NVIDIA has already mentioned in their presentation, including the specs of the card, the new features including HDMI 2.1, the AV1 decoder. Now, much less interesting for someone purchasing this card is the history of graphics cards and RTX, but with that in mind, NVIDIA decided to show yet again that the RTX 3070 can bring similar if not faster performance than a 2080 Ti. Compared to the 2070, the GPU has nearly twice as much teraflops allocated for ray tracing, and with that in mind, NVIDIA also took the time to talk about DLSS yet again, and it's fair to say that more and more titles are being added, and as a concept, DLSS is not bad at all. Probably one of the more notable things we learned, or at least I did, is that the RTX 3070 uses a very similar fan design to its older brethren, the 3080 and 3090, with fans independently pushing air in either direction. Now, the left fan exhausts hot air and the right fan has the fin stack exposed, which is something I've just now noticed on the 3070. I mean, it was quite clearly to be seen on the RTX 3080 and 3090, but not on this one. Either way, according to their reviewer's guide, this should make the card 16 dBA quieter and bring 44% cooling performance, and whether those claims are true, I guess you shall find out in Steve's video. In other 3070 news, let's talk about the RTX 3070 Ti. NVIDIA has allegedly cancelled the RTX 3070 16GB, and of course you were able to learn from this MOSHBITS episode, and apparently the company is now working instead on the RTX 3070 Ti to tackle on AMD's RX 6800 XL, which, if you didn't know, is going to be, well, not launching but announced in 2 days from now. And if you want to learn more about that, then I guess you could also check out my other MOSHBITS episodes in the playlist. Now, the name of the GPU is not yet set in stone, but we learned that it's based on the same GA102 chip and has 7,424 CUDA cores and has a total TGPU of 320 watts, just as much as the RTX 3080 has. In terms of performance, I'd personally say we can expect something closer to the 3080, much like we've seen previously with the 1070 Ti and the 2070 Super. But at this point, I don't know if NVIDIA is actually creating more skews for the better, or, you know, for us as consumers, going off the supply issues. But hey, do remember that this is indeed based on the GA102 chip and not GA104 as on the normal RTX 3070, so maybe, just maybe, NVIDIA is looking into increasing yields rate by binning them. Now, you can watch Luke explain what this means in this Techquickie video, so I won't have to talk for it for another 2 minutes. And if you're more of a laptop guy, then you might probably want to know that NVIDIA is apparently working on releasing some RTX 3060, 3070 and 3080 laptop GPUs, the latter two being Max-Q designs, and those should be bundled with Intel's 10th gen processors. Now, the 3060 should be a Max-P design, so very similar performance to the RTX 3060, albeit we don't really know how good this one is going to be, but judging by some older leaked pictures, we might see that the RTX 3060 will be performing somewhere in the neighborhood of what the RTX 2080 was doing. One thing's for certain, we'll learn more about those laptops and GPUs accordingly at CES 2021. And lastly, as I've been saying for quite a few episodes now, let's hope we won't have to wait until 2021 until we get our hands on the RTX 3070, because ProShop is back at it again with some information on the total number of cards received, and again, it's not looking that rosy. If you don't know what I'm referring to, then check out this MOSHBITS episode, but this time around ProShop has received a total of 206 RTX 3070 cards out of the nearly 4,400 that they have ordered, which is again pretty insane. But according to Video Cards, they were able to confirm that the availability for the RTX 3070 will indeed be better, something we've seen in Japan as well. Now, some AAB partners said that the stock will be in the thousands for this new GPU, unlike the GA102 based GPU, so those are the 3080 and 3090. And do keep in mind that NVIDIA has delayed those cards by 2 weeks on the promise of building more stock, so we were indeed hoping to see more cards, but if I were to be frank with you, I am still doubting that NVIDIA will be able to avoid going through this GPU launch unscathed. Now, out of all regions, Europe clearly seems to have picked the shortest straw, and remains to be seen how many we'll actually be able to get our hands on. Hey, Editing Alex here. Now, the RTX 3060 Ti actually exists, and I was getting ready to upload this video, but then I decided to add this part in here because Video Cards just published an article showing that the RTX 3060 Ti pre-orders have already been going live on Taobao, and the GPU is expected to sell for under $400 US, as the website has them listed right now for anywhere between $305 to $446 US if you happen to make the currency conversion. The GPU has 4,864 CUDA cores, 8 gigs of GDDR6 memory, and should technically be faster than the RTX 2080. Now, the designs should be very similar to those of the RTX 3070, so please don't mind the pictures that have actually shown over there, because they're showing an RTX 3080 or 3090, but they're definitely not gonna look like that. Either way, now it's time to go back to the episode. And don't forget to check out the Video Cards article, which will be in the video description, by the way. And maybe they should learn one or two things from AMD, although you cannot really compare GPU manufacturing to that of CPUs. I guess you could look at how great it's been going for AMD. Now, the most recent report from Mind Factory, this being quite a popular German retailer, mind you, shows AMD's total dominance on the German market at the moment. With 13 out of 20 chips being from Team Red, AMD is moving chips like it's nobody's business at this point, and in the week of 19th to throughout the 25th of October, AMD massively outsold Intel with nearly 80% of their chips being Ryzen. However, if you look better, there's actually 18 AMD chips on that list. I would actually be curious how this will look for the week after the 5th of November, when AMD will unleash its Zen 3 CPUs, this time with even better performance than Intel's offering, something which you can learn more from my MOSHBITS episodes. But you know what, instead of showing you all those pictures, I think you should just check out the playlist, because there's quite a few episodes there that you might like. Now let's move on and talk about some cheap smartphone offerings, because OnePlus is getting ready to release its N10 and N100 devices with somewhat mediocre specs for tech enthusiasts, but otherwise relatively decent for average or below average users. But if you happen to be a tech enthusiast like Martin is, who also happens to run enthusiast.store, then you'll probably mock the new OnePlus offerings for looking far too similar to Oppo's A series of devices, and it's almost like Martin has worked at Oppo or something like that. Nevertheless, the N10 starts at 329 euros, has a Snapdragon 690 chip, nice, a 649-inch 1080p 90Hz refresh rate panel, comes with 30 watts of warp charge, and a decent camera array, I would say, albeit we'll need some proper reviews to assess them better, and don't expect iPhone 12 level performance from them either. Now, the N100 is far cheaper at 179 euros, sports a 5000 mAh battery, but no warp charging, or at least I couldn't find any information on that. A mere 4GB of RAM in a Snapdragon 460 chip, and it's better than nothing camera array, should probably make it a good mom and dad phone. But with that in mind, it remains to be seen. But hey, if you were looking for a new phone or any gadgets for that matter, you should probably join our crowd Discord server where you can get a ton of help from all of the techies that are part of the Discord group. And now it's time to tell you about how Facebook is entering the cloud gaming industry as well. And this just makes me laugh so hard with its announcement of their streaming service dedicated to streaming mobile games like Asphalt 9 Legends, PGA Tour Golf Shootout, and everyone's favorite, Solitaire. And if you wanted to see something sketchier than this, then Facebook will also blur the line, air quotes over there, between games and ads by making, of course, ads playable. And now I'm kind of thinking, where have I seen this before? Oh right, fishy websites with tons of malware. Now, if this is something that floats your boat or are curious to try out, then you might soon be able to, especially if you're from the US, where Facebook will first be running this service. But as a non-Facebook supporter, I'd advise you to stay away from it. And this brings us to the end of this episode, you guys. Do check me out on Twitter and visit crowd.com, and if you'd like to read the original articles and mentions, then do make sure to check out the links in the video description. This has been Alex with the Red Elk, signing off. Bye.